future. And if I told you what vaccines they're doing to our pets and what over-vaccination is doing to our pets, it's not fair to talk about it on this bright, sunny day. So what we're going to move to on this bright, sunny day is how you can really help prevent disease in your pets. And this is scientifically proven. You know, your mother always said, eat your vegetables, they're good for you. But did she know what she was talking about? No. But in 1994, Johns Hopkins Medical School, School of Medicine, discovered the first phytochemicals or phytonutrients in kale. And then they followed that with phytonutrients in broccoli. And they discovered that these phytonutrients in kale will dump toxins, carcinogens, out of cells 10 times faster. So if you eat kale, then the carcinogens get dumped out of cells 10 times faster. Now, I just told you how cancer starts. The carcinogens have to sit there, change the DNA. Well, what if you ate food like brightly colored fruits and vegetables, and you gave that to your dogs, right? And you gave that to them, and the carcinogens were dumped more quickly. I would think that would prevent cancer. Wouldn't you? It would make sense. You're working from the bottom line. And there are ways to do it, like with kale. Your dog will love kale chips. You take kale, you tear it apart, you put it in olive oil, and you put it in the oven for a little bit, and it gets a little crusty, and they munch it up. They like the oil. Sweet potato chips are great. Carrot chips are great. You can make omelets with the vegetables in it. And again, on dogandcatvitamins.com, all these recipes are there. Everything is there so that you can actually learn how to do it, and it's actually fun, especially if they like it. And you know, if you give your dog like an omelet with tons of vegetables in it, even the broccoli stems that you don't like, you cut it up like a little bone, and your dogs love it. And broccoli and kale are the most powerful anti-cancer vegetables, really, that you have, except for some very rare ones, like raspberries, which you're not going to be feeding your dog. They're a little bit expensive. Additionally, your dog should get a good multivitamin supplement to give him all the tools he needs so the cells can fix themselves. And one of the reasons why I practice holistic health is because holistic health creates a wiser and stronger body. That's the important part. Let's say your dog is itching. Conventionally, you give steroids or Atopica, and I have entire articles and lectures on Atopica and how toxic it is. But you give him something like that because the immune system is behaving incorrectly with allergies. It's attacking what should be friends as enemies. I mean, what's wrong with a cracker? You know, what's wrong if your dog is allergic to, let's say, a chicken? Chicken is food. The reason they're allergic to that most of the time is because of over-vaccination. The vaccines, again, are kept alive, the viruses, in a broth of chicken embryos and bovine serum, which is the chicken and the beef that you would give them. And when you vaccinate it in with mercury and adjuvants and formaldehyde and all the other viruses, the body logs it in as an enemy, which is why you run to lamb dog food for the first time when your dog is allergic. You're running away from that protein. Where was I when I stopped doing that? I forgot where I was. Oh, holistic health. No, holistic health, right. So when you minimize giving your dog things that stress the cells and abuse the systems, and you maximize giving healthy things and make it fun to give those healthy things, you wind up with what? A healthier dog, less veterinary bills. And for years, it's 30 years of experience, I can see what works, I can see what's simple. You know, I used to be very complex. I could see every difficult case, and I know so many holistic modalities, and I've trained in so many things. But finally, I had to look at the common denominator, which is why are we getting so much disease in our dogs and cats? And it's quite simply that we have to prevent it. And you know, you tend to sort of slight that comment that colored vegetables are good for you, or these things are healthy, or the diet makes a difference, you know? And by the way, the dog foods that usually have the worst dog food have the best commercials and the best ads, and they yell like Beneful. Absolutely. Isn't Beneful the perfect example? Healthy dogs, vegetables dropping down, and the smaller companies don't have the money to advertise, and they don't have the money to let you know what's going on. There's some dog foods that I like that are different. One is mulligan stew. It's a very strange dog food. It has horseradish, cabbage, and it's not compressed. It's heated, but it's not compressed into high heat. When dogs start using it, they tend to get gas, but they get used to it, and it's some naturopathic formula that helps prevent cancer. Another food I like is canine caviar. This guy uses lentils, makes it very alkaline, and is working to help make a healthier dog food. problem is most of the dog foods are made at Menu Foods in the same place, and they're all made very similarly, and there's not that much difference. And there's one that you like from Canada, right? Laughing Dog. Laughing. Why do you like that? It's not overbaked. It's not overbaked, because once you overbake it, all the nutrition is gone. So I'm going to open up to questions, because I think I've gotten the basics here. And does anyone have any questions about their pets or dogs or health in general? I read what Gene God said about certain things that you should or should not give, and too much broccoli can strip the thyroid. I actually love Gene God's to bits. She's one of the smartest. I think that this little vegetable thing is sort of extreme, because if you give a balance of vegetables and minerals, you're not going to strip anything. The body takes what it needs and excretes what it doesn't. And broccoli, I think you have to. It's sort of like. It's sort of like everybody gets worried about, feeding dogs onions, but you can put onions in as a seasoning, it's fine. So when the Rottweiler eats a bag of onions, that he gets sick. So the little bit of onions is not a bad thing. There's also this whole thing about garlic being bad for your dog. So I did an article on that, because I write for like 6 magazines, and I researched it. And I talked to the National Animal Supplement Council, and they get reports, on adverse effects of anything. And like garlic was millions of doses non-existent, right? And then we looked into the FDA thing that said a garlic could be toxic to your dog. The FDA study gave a golden retriever sized dog between 75 and 150 full cloves of garlic per meal in every single meal. I don't know how they got the dog to eat it. Maybe they gave a concentrate. What dog is going to eat 75 to 150 cloves of garlic in a day? Drinking too much water can kill you. That's actually a fact. But we know that water is good for you. So there's a balance, just like with the broccoli. So giving your dog, the best way to give garlic is you chop it up really fine, you let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes, and it causes a chemical reaction which releases something called allicin. Powerful antifungal, antibacterial, anti-cancer, antiviral, and immune booster. And that makes garlic even healthier. So if your dog likes garlic, or you can mix it with something he likes, a fresh clove is so much better than powdered garlic in preventing disease, and it actually really does help the fleas and ticks stay off. The chopped fresh garlic, if you only wash them with a Castile shampoo after you start giving them garlic. You don't use a detergent shampoo. Question here? Oh yeah. Yeah, she says my book is very good, and you can sell it if you want. I can give you the publisher. It's $8.95, and it's free shipping. This is my book, Dr. Khalsa's Natural Dog, and it's a book that tries to make you wiser. I'm not giving you tiny excerpts of information. It's a readable book. It's comfortable, and you learn why holistic health will work for your dog, and you learn to think for yourself on it. Because that was why I wanted to. I'm not going to be here forever, but I became a veterinarian because I truly love dogs and cats more than you can imagine, and making them better is the biggest joy to me. And I wanted to help people be able to have healthy dogs and cats and know what they're doing. And that's really my quest now. That's why I've made the videos, that's why I have the dogandcatvitamins.com. And here, if you'd like, Toby, can you help me? We have Let Your Dog Food Bark and The Truth About Vaccines if you want any free handouts, and free supplement samples, things like that if you want it after the lecture. Any other questions? You can give dogs a little bit of onions. Onions, like let's say you cook some meal for your family, and it's onions and vegetables and carrots and a roast. I don't eat roast, but I'm trying to imagine what it'd be like, and potatoes. And you want to give your dog some of that, right? Well, you can give them that on top of his food. It's when the Rottweiler eats a huge bag of onions that you're in trouble. It's when at Halloween that the dog eats a big bag of Reese's peanut butter cups if he's had too much chocolate. If you gave your dog one chocolate, it wouldn't do him in at all. No, they're toxic if you eat a lot. They have the same stuff in them that garlic does. So you have to give tons of onions to make a dog sick. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that you just start chopping up onions, but if you have onions as a flavoring, it doesn't matter. Yeah. And also, when you want to top your dog's kibble or your dog's food, try something healthy. I mean, they have plenty of protein in their food. They don't necessarily need hamburger, but they could use brightly colored fruits and vegetables. A lot of dogs love, by the way, watermelon. Cats like asparagus in general. A lot of dogs like apples. In fact, there's a dog snack place here that has apples and peanut butter or something, which is lovely. And you're giving your dogs healthy food just like you would yourself. Question there. Coconut oil is the best stuff. I made this vitamin that I love. If people want an oil, I recommend coconut oil. You know, I'm going to be doing an article on omega-3s. Unfortunately, if you don't make omega-3s a special way, which very few people do, they degrade very quickly. And then you're buying this stuff that isn't as active as you want it to be. But coconut oil has medium chain triglycerides that make everything healthier. It's the miracle food. You know, my cousin is the vice president's right-hand, and she gets all this like cold stuff for me, right? So I had these little wrinkles on the bottom of my lip, you know, and I was trying to figure, what am I going to do with them? So then I started slathering coconut oil on them, and they went away. I know people that only use coconut oil on their face, and it's better than the most expensive creams you could buy. So coconut, it was considered the miracle oil forever, and then when World War II happened, we couldn't get it, because everyone who made it was with the Japanese. And so it sort of went out of it's made to be unhealthy. It's not unhealthy. Remember when we used to think coconut oil was unhealthy? It's amazing fads, isn't it? And now everyone wants to feed really high protein to their dogs. And I'm someday it'll swing my way, because I think they're getting much too much protein. And they need more vegetables. And they need more brightly colored fruit and vegetables. Because protein makes their body acid, and an acid pH helps promote cancer. Yeah.
I recently purchased this for him, but I've been holding it a baby for giving it to him because I'm getting so many conflicting opinions on it.
Oh no, coconut oil is great. But what allergies does he have? Oh, well there's in my book there's NAET, and if you look up on my site, which is Dr. Deva, D-E-V-A, there's a whole bunch written about allergies, and I write about it in my book. Allergies are very interesting. They're like the computer system's gone wrong, but you can actually fix it. And one of my YouTube videos is going to tell you how to do it at home. Yeah. 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 The heartworm prevention won't protect West Nile, but I'm going to tell you my viewpoint on heartworm prevention, which is not conventional. First of all, it works if you give it every 6 weeks, because it works backwards. But it's very easy to remember once a month, and they think we're all too stupid to remember every 6 weeks. But you're giving them less toxins, and you're still doing the job. That's number one. Number two, whenever I saw heartworming dogs, they were the dogs with the short coats. I never saw them in a Keesund or dogs with really thick coats. Now you have schnauzers and you shave them, so the mosquitoes have access, right? And so you want to, I gave heartworm when the mosquito season was in, and when the mosquito season stopped, I would recommend stopping the heartworm. Because why give heartworm in January when there's no mosquitoes? Your dog doesn't need it. So I would start, I think in April, which would go back 6 weeks, cover March, and then I'd go every 6 weeks until October, and that's less toxins that your dog is exposed to. It costs you less money, and it's healthier all the way around. I don't know about that. I'm not actually... Is it? Are dogs getting West Nile virus? Haven't seen much. Here's what I say. Give the chopped up garlic. I mean, we're all worried. It's not. It's good for viruses. For every dog that gets bit by a tick doesn't have to get Lyme disease. And if you're giving them this chopped garlic that has this, and by the way, coconut is antibacterial, antiviral. If you're giving your dog coconut oil and chopped fresh garlic every day, it's like he's on this don't touch me bugs inside his body. So if he gets bit by a mosquito, the chance of getting a heartworm is less. If he gets bit by a tick, the chance of getting Lyme disease is less. His immune system is built up, and he's generally healthier. But it's really that simple. You don't want to believe, could it be that simple, huh? Yeah, my tick dog is good too. Tick dog is excellent, yeah.
Where do I find a ratio of immunity data that's temporary and not necessarily deemed to share with others?
Where do you find the immune? So you don't want, Gene Dawes is the best.
I know, but some veterinarians currently know something her and
Well, my book has a whole chapter at the end of allergies because vaccines contribute to allergies so much. And that will actually explain to you how to handle your vet. It actually, no, there's a whole thing on how to handle your veterinarian. I mean, because everyone has a problem with it. I know.
your recommended omega-3 supplement?
I don't have a record. I like coconut oil better than omega-3s. Yeah. But there's a product that's really interesting. It's by Burback, and it's an actual stabilized omega-3s, and you put it topically on your pet's coat, and it goes all through it. And it's really good for dogs that have allergies. What? Right. That's the way it comes. It looks like old Crisco. And but then when it gets warm, it turns into a liquid. So it doesn't matter how you do it. And dogs love it, and cats love it. They just lick it up and think it's delicious.
What kind of dosage do you use?
You just put it on their food and they eat it. No, they just like it. They don't care. I used to try to put in shakes and then it would get yucky, so I couldn't do it. Any other questions on dog health? Yes? Some dogs get gas from eating garlic, and you have to check it out. Some dogs, but you just do a little bit and chop it up enough. You do the raw and you chop it and let it sit. It has a chemical reaction. They don't react as much. You'll see. Let me know how it goes. Yeah. If she likes chicken, and chicken is good, it's fine, but you don't want to give just chicken.
Well, I give chicken and vegetables.
That's exactly it. Yeah, a really good carbohydrate for dogs that I like are sweet potatoes. They're really healthy. Pumpkin's really good too. That's perfect.
The other thing is, what do you think about corn?
Well, corn, a lot of corn is genetically modified. I don't know what to say about corn. I love corn on the cob. Cats love cream corn. You know, the corn with dogs usually goes in and comes out looking just like corn, so why give it, right? Question? What? No, depends on the vegetable. Like let's say you give a dog a carrot, he doesn't eat it well. And then you take him out and there's carrots, you know? So you're either going to have to grate it. If you make juices, the pulp is very good for them. You either have to grate it or cut it up and steam it lightly, and it's fine. Lightly steamed vegetables are better. Yeah, they absorb them better. Because they don't have the... Dogs will absorb if you cook up barley or you cook up rice, brown rice. They'll digest it and it's good for them. You just have to cook it longer than for us. That's not really true for the vegetables. Chop them fine, lightly steam them, and they get them in. Yeah. Bone meal is toxic, unfortunately. First of all, bone meal is not absorbed. But what is absorbed, what your dog and cat does absorb when you give a supplement that has bone meal in it, is the toxic cadmium and lead that it carries. Now don't ask me why bone meal is so full of so many heavy metals, toxic heavy metals, but it is. And your dog will get no calcium from the bone meal, and your dog will absorb the toxic metals. Yeah. What's that?
That's really interesting because you see that added into their product.
All the time. And brewer's yeast and vitamins. You know what brewer's yeast is? Brewer's yeast is what's left over from the beer brewing industry. Dogs are very allergic. They would throw it away. Bones they throw away. A lot of stuff that they used to put in dog food, there's a lot of companies that are getting better, is what you would have chucked, what you couldn't use for humans. And then what you're paying for when you buy the bag are those multi-million-dollar television commercials. But the smaller companies are doing a better job, but they can't afford that kind of advertising. We have to be able to perceive through the advertising to find, you know, good, healthy foods for our pets.
Are they garlic?
I guess so, because dogs like brewer's yeast. Dogs like brewer's yeast, and I throw into everything, but most dogs who are allergic to brewer's yeast. It's a huge allergen. I test for allergies all the time, differently than other doctors, and it's huge. It's amazing, and in trying to fix them, you're doing the wrong thing. It's phenomenal. Never use Atopica, no matter what you do. It is, you know, it's a lecture in itself. So there's so much information that you can get from dog and cat vitamins, and then if you sign up for that thing, When the YouTube videos come out, I'll send them to you and tell you what's out there. And then you get this education because, you know, how can I say, there's too few veterinarians that are holistically oriented. My old practice is Dr. Marks and Toby, they're sitting there, they're in Yardley, but there's too few. And people are all over the world, and there's all these dogs and cats who we love to bits. And because we love them, we're doing stuff that's actually, yes, exactly. And then we create lifetime problems for ourselves, or we worry and worry and worry to spend all this money, and we don't have to. So I decided that I was going to try to do an all-out campaign to slow that down. You know, grapes and dogs have died from eating one raisin. Like a big dog eats one raisin, drops dead. We all sit there and we're amazed at it. Like I used to have an English setter. I used to feed her raisins all the time. She'd roll them around with a big lip. She'd nice my music. Never had a problem. Is it something they're spraying the grapes with that we don't know about? But a few dogs have dropped dead from eating a couple of grapes. I don't even know what to say. It seems absurd to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, nice round of applause for Dr. Khalsa. Hopefully she helped you guys out. If you guys have any questions, I'm sure she'll be floating around and answer anything you have. We're going to turn some music back up.